So check this out. It all kicks off with this story that sounds like something straight out of science fiction, right? But nope, this actually happened last year. Somebody gave an AI this super simple, harmless-sounding goal.
And that was literally it. Just 3 words: organize my week. That's all they gave it. No step-by-step guide, no detailed instructions, just this big, broad objective. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? Well, get this. In just a few seconds, the AI dives into the user's calendar. It starts moving meetings around, blocking off focus time, and it even writes up entire emails to everybody involved to let them know about the changes. And here's the kicker. It was just about to send every single one of them. The thing is, nobody told it how to do any of that. No one said, hey, write this specific email or move this exact meeting. The AI figured all of that out by itself, which you gotta ask, how is that even possible? That one moment, right there, shows us this huge, kind of quiet, but really profound shift in what AI is turning into. And that's exactly what we're gonna break down right here, this quiet shift. It's the move from the AI we're all used to, the simple tool, to this brand new thing, an AI that's becoming an autonomous agent. You see, that story we just talked about, it perfectly captures this whole change. It's that exact moment where AI went from needing a step-by-step recipe to just needing a final destination, a goal.
For so long, we've thought of AI as just a tool, right? It was kind of like a train on a track. You laid down the rails, told it exactly where to go, and it just followed the path. But now, well, the railroad tracks are just gone. And this really breaks it down perfectly. Think about it. In the past, AI was just a tool. You had to give it these fixed, rigid steps, and it would just follow them. If you stopped, it stopped. Simple. But now with an agent, it's a whole different ballgame. You just give it the goal, and it figures out the steps. It can actually plan what to do, go do it, and get this. It can even improve its own plan if things don't work out. It's not just a passive calculator anymore, it's an active player in the game.
So if we're making this leap from tools to agents, a really helpful way to think about them is less like a piece of software and more like, like new employees. And just like any group of employees, they don't all have the same skills. They come in different flavors with different capabilities.
Okay, so at the very bottom of the ladder, you've got your simple agents. These guys are totally reactive. They see something, they do something. No memory, no thinking ahead. The classic example is a thermostat, right? Room gets too hot, AC kicks on. Room gets too cold, heat kicks on. That's it. Simple cause and effect. Now, take a step up and you get to memory agents. These can actually remember stuff, even when they can't directly see it anymore. They have like a persistent picture of the world in their mind. A perfect example is a self-driving car. It knows a truck is in its blind spot even after the truck is out of the mirror's view. It's keeping this internal map of everything around it.
Then we get to the planning agents, and this is where things start to feel, a lot smarter. You give one of these a goal, and it actually thinks ahead. It runs through different possibilities in its head to figure out the best sequence of moves. Think about a delivery robot. It's not just aimlessly wandering. It's already planned out the most efficient route, figuring out how to get around roadblocks before it even gets to them.
But, why settle for just any path when you can find the absolute best one? That's where optimizing agents come in. Their job isn't just to solve the problem, it's to find the most efficient, the most elegant solution. They're constantly juggling all these variables, time, money, risk, to pick the perfect strategy.
And finally, we get to the top tier, the most powerful of them all, the learning agents. These are the ones that actually evolve. Every single thing they do, every success they have, and this is the most important part, every mistake they make just becomes another lesson that makes them smarter. They're not static at all. They're constantly getting better all on their own. So all this progress, it's absolutely incredible, right? But this is also where things start to get pretty complicated. Because think about it. When you build something that can plan, act, and learn all by itself, you suddenly have to deal with a really old question, but in a totally new way. And that question is, who's really in control? And what kind of brand new risks are we looking at?
Let's really sit with that for a second. When a piece of code can decide on its own to fire off an email, or get into a secure system, or even move money around, that whole line of who's responsible gets really, really blurry. It's not just a dumb machine following orders anymore.
And that brings up some very real dangers we've got to think about. For instance, an agent could take a goal way too literally,
and you end up with some crazy unintended side effects. Or it could get tricked by some hidden instruction buried in a document it's reading. Or, and this is the one that's really tricky, it could make a decision that's technically correct by its logic, but in the real world it causes a huge problem. And the scariest part? All this can happen with no human in the loop.
So, what do we do about this? Well, companies are starting to catch on. They're realizing that if you're going to hire this new kind of digital employee, then you're going to need a new kind of management for it. You basically have to build a digital HR department just for your AIs.
And the whole process looks a lot like bringing on a new person. Step 1, you give it limited access. Only what it absolutely needs to do its job, and nothing more. Step 2, you watch everything it does. Monitor all its actions. 3, for the big stuff, like sending a company-wide email or moving money, a human has to sign off on it, no exceptions. And last, you keep a detailed log of every single decision it makes.
The really critical thing to get here is that this massive shift, it's happening, but it's not loud. There wasn't some big press conference or a flashy announcement saying, "Hey everyone, AI agents are here." It's all happening quietly, under the radar, just as little software updates and new features.
And all this brings me to one last thing for you to think about. The next time you're using an AI, maybe it's helping you write an email or plan a vacation, just stop for a second and ask yourself this: am I just using a tool?
Or am I actually giving orders to something that's quietly learning how to think for itself? Because the moment you stop paying attention, the moment you stop noticing that quiet shift from a simple tool to an active agent, well, that's the exact moment it really starts making the decisions.